Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna be honest with you here. One of the last things I was expecting to do coming out of the 2024 NFL draft this weekend was to be making a video talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, here we are. Because going into this draft, the wide receiver position, it was an area that this team was rumored to address. However, we just didn't know when they would actually address it. I mean, when you consider things like the current composition of their wide receiver room, the Hollywood Brown signing, the picks they had to work with in this draft, relatively all of it left you guessing as to what they were going to end up doing. But if you would have told me the Chiefs would be walking away from this weekend, not only trading up in the first round of this draft, but doing so to grab quite literally the fastest wide receiver this league has ever seen. To be honest with you, it sounds like the most Kansas City type of move I've ever heard of in my life, okay? And I mean, it's one thing in itself to see how this is gonna look in the depth chart next season, but then when you take a look at the film on top of this, yeah, this could be absolutely terrifying. But also, if you haven't done so yet, do not forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss another NFL video as we slowly approach the 2024 season.
Good protection, aired out.
A ton of air running underneath it. Worthy's got it for a touchdown.
So I'm willing to bet that somewhere around 99% of you watching this video, you know exactly how this original play ended. And truth be told, it was really the epitome of the Chiefs 2023 regular season. Not just dropped footballs, but also a lack of a consistent deep threat within this offense. Now, obviously, none of this really matters too much when you end up walking away hoisting the Lombardi trophy once again. But I mean, guys, when your Hall of Fame quarterback walks away from that season with the 38th ranked deep ball passer rating in a 32 team league, yeah, something is telling me that's not all Patrick's fault here. Like, even outside of just the deep ball, this had been the lowest yards per attempt of Mahomes' entire career up to this point, and the numbers will show you it wasn't even close. But with this, am I really trying to imply to you that a rookie wide receiver is going to somehow come in and fix all of this? I mean, well, I'll just say this, it sure as hell isn't gonna hurt them. Because if you've watched college football, even in the slightest, you've known who Xavier Worthy was ever since he bursted onto the scene as a freshman dominating Power 5 football. And yes, while he is a wideout who very clearly excels because of his unmatched vertical presence, so many people seem to assume that the deep ball is his only strong suit as a wide receiver. That, and not to mention his extremely thin frame, were ultimately two of the biggest reasons as to why he fell all the way to the 28th overall pick in this draft. But if you don't want to believe me, I think the film will tell you that that is clearly not the case. I mean, you can just see it when watching him. He almost uses that vertical speed as a decoy to thrive in every other area of the field. His quick change of direction allows him to take advantage in producing in underneath routes while also being able to attack intermediate parts of the pass game. In terms of producing after the catch, to hell with the concerns of a small frame, because not only was he great in terms of yards after the catch, he didn't miss a single game in his 3-year collegiate career. But again, when you're talking about this Kansas City Chiefs team as a whole going into next season, it's not just about what a guy like Xavier Worthy can do on the field by himself, because it's also about the seemingly new offensive identity that this team is actively trying to build around this guy. First, there's simply the expanded route running combinations that both Reid and Nagy will be able to incorporate into this offense. Because in terms of KC's top producing targets in the 2023 season, you can essentially address this as a swap of both MVS and Justin Watson in exchange for presumably both Hollywood Brown and of course Xavier Worthy. And honestly, everything that we have praised Xavier Worthy for being able to do so far in this video, whether that be the vertical presence, his agility, stopping on a dime, yak, route running, anything you can think of, Hollywood Brown is practically a pure replica of that skill set who's proven to be able to dominate with it at the professional level. You can see it when watching either of them. They've both spent a majority of their time split out wide within their respective offenses, but they also have no issue operating out of the slot as well. And you can also see through Hollywood's numbers over the course of his entire career that whether he's needed to be strictly that deep guy or more of the short to intermediate depending on the offensive situation, he is almost the perfect puzzle piece for Kansas City's situation next year. Because with what you're likely going to see in both of these guys with 40 times like these split out wide, being able to blow the top off of defensive coverages on really any given play, there are three beautiful words that Kansas City is going to be seeing a lot of because of this. And those three words are two high defenses. And once Mahomes and company start seeing this more often next season, I mean, the possibilities are seemingly endless for this team. To start, there's the idea of expanding the route tree of either Hollywood or Xavier to attack weak points of coverages, which, based on the amount of yak Mahomes guys had throughout last season, yeah, I'd say both of these guys have never had a quarterback like this who can find those weak points. Then there's also what this will do for the tight end position, whether that is immensely opening up the middle of the field for Kelce to bounce back from his lowered production last season, which, yes, somehow these numbers are considered an off year for this guy. Or even the new kid on the block they picked up in the third round of this year's draft in tight end Jared Wiley, who, as it's clear through the film, he can also attack pretty much any area of the field that you ask of him. And I get it, rightfully so, most of the conversation this offseason is about what this revamped air attack is actually going to look like next season. But hey, there's also the ground game. And I mean, if you thought Pacheco and company were productive last season with a limited air attack to work with, you're probably going to be surprised with what they end up doing as well. Nonetheless though, you guys, whether it's the offense, the defense, the rest of the draft picks we haven't mentioned, contract extensions, coaching, anything you can think of, this was just my 2 cents on it. And I'm still extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about this team's situation. So please let me know in the comments what has been the most surprising part to you out of everything regarding Kansas City's offseason up to this point. And of course, if you had to, give me a prediction for what their final record's going to be in the 2024 season. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything, and I will see you guys in the next video.